Just a couple bad weather fans representing New York, talking all things sports. Man, what could go wrong? We got Alex, who's a fan of the Knicks, and Mike of the Nets. The yin-yang of the tri-state, place your bets on the Yankees, Giants, Mets, or Jets. Yeah, you should listen if they're sparking your interest. If you made a vow to your team, don't break it. Bad weather fans is the relation.
That's right, it's Bad Weather Fans, episode number 282. It's dark outside behind me if you're watching on YouTube, and that's because it's at night, because we're doing this early in the morning on Tuesday. Mike Biseglia, Alex Benesowitz, and we are presented by Odyssey. Mets season collapse is over. Jets season lost last night is over. Giants season not over, has a little juice going into Sunday's game versus the Saints. But we are excited because basketball is around the corner. Nets and Knicks seasons getting started shortly. Different expectations for both teams, but excitement for the Net fan and excitement for the Knick fan, which is something we did not have last year combined. Alex, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. A little annoyed about the Jets last night, but we'll get to that later. I'm doing okay overall. Knicks in Abu Dhabi, ready for their preseason debut on Thursday, which is Yom Kippur, so I won't be able to watch. But
Who are they playing?
I don't even know. Sixers, maybe? I don't know. To be honest, who knows? Who cares?
Well, it's cool that there's basketball on the schedule. It's so early. It's still September when we are recording this,
Right.
but basketball gets started basically in the regular season. In like 3 weeks on the 21st, I think, the season kicks off. So hoops is around the corner, which is just fun to say out loud. It feels like just yesterday, the Knicks season came to an end. It feels like 8 years ago the Nets season came to an end. I can't even pretend like I can remember the last time they had a meaningful basketball game.
Yeah.
But I'm just excited to have hoops. And, Alex, for me, with the Nets side, I know with the Knicks side, there's so much excitement for other reasons. You're a grizzled veteran now getting ready for the big boy time. But there's a little juice with the Nets, which they haven't had in a while. And once they start losing games, I'm sure it'll get annoying. But there's a little juice for the first time, which feels good to say out loud.
Yeah, and Nets have some excitement. They got the young rookies. They got Michael Porter Jr. saying all types of stupid things. They have, Cam Thomas playing for a contract. You have some exciting things to watch. I mean, it might not be the best team, obviously. It might not even be a playing team, but at least you'll have a pulse. You'll have a reason to watch, a reason to root. You're not going to be like, well, I'm rooting for this guy, but he's not going to be here in 4 months. So who cares? At least you're rooting for progression. You're starting the track. Like we talk about it all the time here, on the show. And it's always like a reference I give. It's like they're at the bottom of the mountain. They're beginning their ascension. You know what I mean? They were at the bottom of the mountain. They were still going down the mountain, the previous mountain before.
Right.
Or down the way they came up because they didn't get over the top. Let's paint the whole picture. But now they're going up again. We're going in the right direction. The Nets, not we, please, God forbid, wash my mouth out, are going in the right direction. You never know. You have 5 first-round picks and maybe one hits it. Maybe Cam Thomas, takes a step. Maybe Michael Porter Jr. takes a step, his own team. You never know what's going to happen. At least you have that hope. And no hope and no direction is the worst place to be as a franchise. And Nets have hope. So
it's funny how, summer league games, Nolan Traore is probably like the shining moment for Net fans. And now it's into training camp and there's hype around Ben Suraf, looks good, and people are saying great things. I said this in a group chat with you and Spen Harris and a great Net fan.
Yes.
That, I want Ben Suraf to succeed, man. 26th pick in the draft. And I know that Drake Powell was the pick that they got from the Bucks from the Knicks. So obviously want him to be amazing too. But Suraf is the direct link to Mikal Bridges. So I'm like, yeah, I'm petty. I want him to be awesome.
Right.
Like, I want everybody to be awesome, but I want him to just dwarf Mikal in his ability and become an all-time great with this first pick that they got directly from him, and just have them linked forever. So, right. Josh Hart can, talk about 14-year-olds that the Nets are prospecting, which is true too. Can't deny it. Eventually they'll be there, right? Like there is some link to that. But this is the first guy in that trade, and it's exciting that he's going to get on the basketball court at some point.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I'm gonna always have interest from that standpoint.
Yeah, it's like you want all 5 players to be all-time greats, obviously, but if you had to choose one, if it was gonna be one, like, odds are maybe one will, and if it's that one, you want it to be Soroff because it's the pick for Mikal. Like, if you had to pick one, like, it's that one just
Well,
to give a little needle, a little twist of the knife, to the Knicks.
if it's gonna be an all-time great, yeah. You also too like there's 5 picks, and let's say Yegor Demon becomes a bust and he's just horrible
Right.
and it doesn't work out, but Powell at 22 becomes one of the best players in the league. Like, who cares?
Yeah,
I mean, I want everybody to be awesome. Who doesn't? From any sport,
of
any
course.
perspective, when you draft anybody, rounds 1 through 7 in the NFL.
Yeah.
But if they take 5 swings and 2 of them become all stars, then it worked.
Yeah, and
Not perfect, but it worked.
it's true, and I made this reference a couple episodes ago where it's like the Mets starters from 2015 and that era when they were building towards that. You had DeGrom, you had Wheeler, you had Syndergaard, you had Harvey, and like you had Harvey was like the big flashy guy. Syndergaard was a big flashy guy, and then you had DeGrom, this quiet guy with long hair, and he was like the best
Yeah.
one. And you had Wheeler also. It's just and Matz and Steve Matz. You had all these guys that were like flashy and then had their own excitement around them. Matz had the big debut. You had all these different moments for all the guys. But in terms of all of them together, as a Mets fan, you're sitting there like, we have all these prospects. Literally need one or two to be aces, and then we are set. And it happened. For a little while at least, they had 2 or 3 of them, and they got to a World Series. So for the Nets, if they have 1 or 2 of these 5 picks become legit players, and they don't have to be all-time
Yeah.
greats, but legit starting caliber players, you can make a run. Like, I know the Nets in New Jersey added Jason Kidd that got them over the top to become a title contending team. But in one draft, they drafted Richard Jefferson and Collins, right? And that's put them on the map, and they were able to. And then they got Kenyon Martin in the draft, and it's just like those kinds of things in the draft, and Kerry Kittles, and like you got to get guys in the draft in order to build a team. It's impossible in the NBA to just piece together all stars unless you're LeBron James and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh in their prime. But
still,
the point is made.
but still, Wade came from the draft.
Yeah. Wade came from the draft. Exactly.
Wade came from the draft.
Norris
but
Cole
it's
also
true
from the draft. They don't win without Mario Chalmers. You don't win without him either. But
when you build,
Yeah.
you do have to hit it right. And that Nets team that did go to the finals there, they were horrible. They drafted Van Horn. Well, they traded for Van Horn on draft night, but essentially drafted Van Horn, drafted Kittles, drafted Kenyon, drafted RJ and Collins in the trade swap for Eddie Griffin, and then they brought in the superstar, and it was the glue to put it all together. But yeah, you're right. You have to start somewhere. I mean, the Knicks did it their way. There's no one way to build a championship roster. The Knicks did it their way, where they essentially had the same thing going. They were horrible, and then they started accumulating draft assets, and they drafted RJ Barrett. They signed Julius Randle as a free agent.
Quickly,
they drafted Emmanuel Quickly. They drafted Mitchell Robinson, right, to name the guys that really had an impact. And then at the right time, they made the decision to make trades for OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, and they brought in a free agent, similar to how the Nets did with Kidd. Although Kidd was a trade, but the same concept of you bring in the guy. And there's a lot of similarities too. Kidd was more established than Brunson at the time, clearly. But there was this idea that the Nets made a bad trade because they gave away Marbury, who was 9 years younger or something, to get Kidd.
New York legend, right? A hometown kid.
Yeah. And no one thought when Brunson came here, they were like, okay, they got the serviceable point guard who's going to upgrade them. But no one at the same time, no one was like, the Knicks got their star guard. No one thought that at all.
No, I don't think Jalen Brunson thought he was going to be a star. I don't think Rick Brunson. I don't think Leon Rose. We've talked about that many times too, where it's, it's hard to circle back and, like to do the update thing on Twitter with the question mark. It's like, it's hard to do a cold takes exposed on Jalen Brunson. Nobody knew he'd be this great. Like, every take from that time can't be circled back on because it's such like an unexpected thing that he is this great. The starting point guard in the All-Star game. If you said that a couple of years ago, I'd be like, you're insane. Be an MVP caliber player, like, you're insane. I thought, okay, got a starting point guard. That's literally what we thought. I'm like, I think, some of the hype was a little bit too much, but I was wrong.
There was debate at the time because I remember Malcolm Brogdon, I believe, was a free agent who's now in the Knicks as a, could be a key reserve, or we'll see what happens with his
He's not
health
even a
if he
guaranteed
can
contract.
maintain.
Yeah.
Right, but there was the
Yeah.
debate there. Like, do you bring in someone like Malcolm Brogdon just to stabilize the point, who at the time
A veteran
was a
presence. Yeah.
veteran point guard, and you could have like a debate who was better.
Because they hated
Obviously,
quickly for some reason, and I didn't really understand that, but that was because they had Alfred Payton and all that nonsense. They should have brought in
Tibbs
Rozier.
likes
They did bring in
Tibbs
Rozier.
likes
Yeah.
Tibbs likes point guards that can run an offense. Although he didn't like to have Jalen Brunson at the end of game, what was it, 5 versus Detroit. I don't think he was on the court for the final 3 minutes because he couldn't get him and Josh Hart
Oh,
back in the
yeah.
game.
Yeah, I don't remember what game that was, but yeah, they were
I think it was game 5.
standing at the scorer's table, and he wouldn't
It
he
was
didn't wanna
game
use his
5 because they
he didn't wanna use his timeout. It's like, use your timeout, man. Who cares? Timeout means
yeah,
nothing if you can't get your best players in the game. Yeah, that
yeah,
was
it
awful.
was game 5. But
Yeah.
I don't know that I one net that I don't think yeah, I think net fans are interested to see because I was so excited about him last year and he had a disastrous season in his second year as Noah Clowney. First year with the Nets
Mhm.
showed some promise. He's the first guy they got back in the Kevin Durant trade, and I was really excited about him. Then last year, he just took a step back, couldn't stay healthy, couldn't get to the basket, missing shots left and right. Felt like he was just became a spot up 3-point shooter. This year comes into camp, 10, 15 more pounds. Looks like he grew up a little bit. He's still a kid. I mean, he's like 21, 22 years old. But I think he's almost like a of the young Mets players because there's 5 first round picks. It's almost like, and did this. I was like, oh yeah, Noah Clowney's here. Hopefully he gets better. And he's part of the development. Just another guy on the Nets roster that we'll see what happens.
Yeah, honestly, I totally forgot about Clowney. Thinking about who's on the Nets, I just forget about him completely. So that's another guy you got. I mean, I wonder what their lineup's going to be. I wonder how they're going to treat Cam Thomas. Are they going to treat him like they have in the past? Are they actually going to give him a chance? What's going to go on? It's really
He's going
weird.
to get a chance.
Yeah,
He's going to get a chance because they just have they have 5 point guards, or excuse me, I mean they might have 5 point guards. They traded for Kobe Buffkin. They've
right,
got just a ton of young players, and he's crazy at 23. He's one of the veterans on the team,
right.
but he is. He was asked about that. And he laughed a little bit, and Cam his body changed over the offseason. It did. He lost. He looks slimmer. He looks more physical, and I'm excited for him. I'm excited to see what he does with the keys to the car. Really here in Brooklyn, and him and Michael Porter are just. It's gonna be. It's gonna be not boring. It might be bad, but it won't be boring. All
Yeah,
right, like
they'll be fun.
they'll be fun.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to the Nets ending their losing streak versus the Knicks. I
Mhm.
don't think they're gonna like just one, like just get one this year. It's been 10 fucking games, and I'm ready to beat the Knicks again. It's been too damn long.
And you want it to be a real win, not end of the season when they're resting
No,
everybody.
I don't care. I want anything.
Just end the streak, right? Like the
Just end
Jets
the streak.
beating Belichick on his last ever game just to end that streak so he couldn't take it into retirement. That he
Yeah,
hadn't lost to the Jets the last 10 years of his existence yet on the
it's
Patriots.
enough.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm just I'm excited to see what happens with the Nets, as much as like I don't like the Nets, I hate the Nets, but it's cool to see a team turn the corner and see what happens. And especially with it's unprecedented with the 5 first round picks. It's like literally never happened. And I also like root for people to be proven wrong, where it makes me like I'm not pulling for the Nets, but like it makes me like I want these kids to be okay because of the viral
Yeah,
picture of them on just because you have no idea who these guys are. They're 5 first round picks, and like I said on Twitter and on here last episode, where it was like, if one of these guys was on your team and drafted and he showed some promise in summer league, you'd be like, this is our future. But because it's 5 Nets and you don't know who these guys are, now it's like, who did they draft? The
right.
NBA draft also is such a weird situation now. We don't know who half these guys are because half of them come from other countries that are not playing
Sure.
college basketball. So watching an NBA draft now, you're like, who is this person? Who is that? Who is it? You're
Yeah,
not watching
it's not the same.
Argentinian basketball. Like you're not watching the Euro basket. People can act like they are all they want. All you're doing is watching clips of YouTube and seeing mock drafts. You're not watching these guys.
Yeah,
It's not like college basketball where you're a Syracuse fan and you're watching all the games. You happen to see who they play and then you watch the tournament, and then it's not like that. So I'm excited to see what happens. I love when people are proven wrong, especially when they go overboard on their silly jokes.
Yeah, and I appreciate you having that perspective because I think it's the first time in the history of the sport that there's 5 first-round picks taken. So, like, could you imagine if the head of PR and media for the Nets didn't think to take a photo of the 5 guys
Right.
together? That, to me, would be a bigger mistake.
For sure.
You have 5 first-round picks. Clearly, there's gonna be a photo taken of the 5 guys
On media
together
day. Yeah.
on media day. Like, could you imagine if like, oh my God, we forgot to get Danny Wolf in the photo. Shit. Like that guy's in trouble. The guy didn't do his job well.
Right.
So they're gonna take the 5 guys. And
Yeah.
if you even took a photo of Kobe Bryant before his first NBA game, he's a kid. He's straight out of high school. All these guys are kids, 19, 20, 21 years old. So you take a photo of 5 20-year-olds, they're gonna look like little kids.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the way it is. And I said this on the last episode. In 3 years, if they all stink, then that photo,
Right. You can put
is gonna-
X's
is
over
gonna
their
have some problems.
faces and X and X and X.
right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
not,
like, make it
then
fun.
that photo is going to come back to haunt them. But
And that would
but,
be-
but bigger than the photo, it'll be the organization is fucked.
And that would be the right thing to do. And that then you can mock them all you want, and you would totally support that. I would support that. I'd join in on it. It'd be fun. But
I'd be pissed, but I couldn't. But I could understand somebody. I could understand somebody that wants to mock the Nets using that as ammunition to go after them.
I just hope somebody does like a Back to the Future thing. This is make me root for the Nets to not be the 5 players to not do well, where it's just have a Back to the Future thing and have a guy fade away every time he's left the team, like in that 5-player picture. That'd be fun.
Well,
For
I
me.
think I did that with the Nets and the Big Three when it was
Oh,
Kyrie,
yeah.
Harden,
And then add Ben Simmons.
Kevin Durant,
Add Ben Simmons in there and then pull him out.
God. Ben Simmons.
Yeah. And
Can we go an episode without saying Ben Simmons?
maybe next one because we just said it.
Maybe next one. I'll see if we can do it. It's like, can you do it?
Right. So the Knicks are playing the Sixers on Thursday in Abu Dhabi.
Okay.
That'd be fun. I'll actually try to catch the replay when I come home from Temple. But it's just fun that they're playing. It's fun that it's happening. It's fun that they're 22 days away from their opening game. It's crazy. It's like it doesn't feel like it's happening. And like you said in the beginning of the episode, it feels like the Knicks just finished. And they kind of did because they played so long in the playoffs. We're not
Early June.
accustomed to that around here anymore with both teams to go to the conference finals. It's been a long time. So, that's pretty late. Imagine they got to the finals, they would feel like they played yesterday. So I'm excited. Josh Hart has the finger issue. He's got a bit of a swollen finger, like that's going to be concerning. He couldn't shoot anyway. So what does it matter? Mitchell Robinson is probably going to start. I mean, he's going to start in my opinion because Tibbs got fired in part, not completely because he wouldn't change his lineup, and they forced him to change his lineup in the Eastern Conference Finals to start Mitchell Robinson. So now you're going to have a new coach, and you're not going to put the lineup in that you fired the coach for not doing, partly. Of course,
Right.
Mitchell Robinson's going to start, and they're not going to start Josh Hart. And Josh Hart doesn't care. He just wants to win. He knows he's going to play. So what does he care? It is what it is. So, and it's the best lineup to put because Towns is soft defensively, and Mitchell Robinson is the defensive monster. They complement each other perfectly. Towns is not going to be in the same spots as Mitchell Robinson, considering Towns is always hanging around the 3-point line, and Towns can still clean the glass. And, it's going to be a good situation. I know they don't have a traditional shooting guard, but everybody tells me that there's no positions in NBA anymore. There's positionless basketball. So I don't know why it matters to the Knicks, but it does, of course. But Deuce McBride's not going to start. I don't know who started that BS rumor. He's going to come off the bench. He's going to have a bigger role. You also have Jordan Clarkson. The Knicks have like a really, really good bench. If Josh Hart's coming off the bench too, you have Deuce and Clarkson and, Josh Hart and Ubaselli and Huck Porty hopefully takes a step. And then you have Brogdon and Shamet and Kolick and don't forget Daddy. Hopefully he's the one who gets traded. Somebody has to go though. If they're going to keep Brogdon and Shamet, I wonder who that's going to be. What do you think is going to happen there, though, Mike?
I have no idea. I'm not even going to pretend to answer your question.
It's just
I have no
thought.
clue.
Like, what do you think? It's not like
I know. I'm not. I have no idea. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I just don't. And honestly, like they got a veteran bench. They got pieces together that can that can stabilize a second unit, and I respect them for putting it together. I think it's better than last year's, but I don't have an answer. I'm not gonna pretend to.
Running
I
for
really don't.
office? Yeah.
No, I'm definitely not. I think they've improved their bench.
Mhm.
I think to answer your first part about why is this different, I don't think it has to do with the Knicks. Why your point about like the positionless basketball? I think it's because typically it's all shooters on a
Mhm.
court and less size, and I think this is different. That you don't usually see um, bigger guard forwards on a team and then don't have
Well,
shooters.
Towns is a shooter,
So
so I mean,
he
yeah,
is a shooter,
yeah.
yes, but from the guard perspective, like Mikal is a mid range guy. He's not a 3-point shooter.
Mhm.
Um, OG Anunoby can stretch the floor and shoot, but I don't think you could look at him as a shooter,
Definitely not. Yeah.
right? Mitchell Robinson definitely is not a shooter. I don't think he can shoot. And Brunson it can shoot, but he's more of a playmaking guard. I don't
And he's
consider him a
streaky,
shooting
streaky from
guard.
beyond the arc, so yeah, yeah,
Yeah, once he gets going, he gets going, but he creates offense for himself
right.
and for his teammates. But I don't think, he's Ray Allen out there, to use an extreme
Yeah,
example. But off the bench, you got guys that can shoot and Clarkson and Deuce, and they're going to be asked to make shots.
right.
So I think that's why. I think it's because it's traditionally in this new modern NBA, it's four guys on the court that can shoot, and then a big or a stretch five or whatever stretch four, whatever the terms are.
Whatever it
Like
is.
I think that's why. Less about the Knicks and more just about the way they're going about doing it.
That's fair. That's fair. I guess you countered my point, so I have nothing to say.
Good. I like when that happens. I mean, Mikel's got to shoot better from three this year.
He
I
does,
think that goes
and I think
without
he
saying.
will. I think he will. I think he literally hated Tibbs. I think he just literally. I think he just hated him. And he's the one who talked. Remember, we brushed that aside like it was nothing. He hit the game winner that day in Portland, but still, so we kind of like forgot about it. But he was the one who held the torch and talked about trash about the coach.
Yep.
That was the first domino to fall in this whole process. So
Yep.
it's almost like,
I think it.
yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I said it's almost like when Mikal Bridges made that comment before the Portland game about Tibbs, that it was the first domino to fall and that it became championship or bust for Tibbs, and you're gonna get fired. Or at least get to the finals or you're gonna get fired. And we didn't think about it. We brushed it aside. They're still winning. How can you
Right.
fire the coach? Tibbs is like Brunson's uncle, like how do you get rid of him? But overall, it's still a basketball team and they're still in the NBA and coaches come and go like the wind. And Tibbs is no different, and it's not unprecedented thing to fire a coach after going to the Eastern Conference Finals or the Conference Finals or the NBA Finals. It happens all the time, and it works all the time. To be fair, so we'll see what happens. They hired Mike Brown. It could have been a lot worse. They really could have sank the ship with a bad hire, but they didn't. They hired a guy who knows what he's doing. He's been around the block, been to the finals, coached Kobe, coached LeBron, coached the Spurs as an assistant, coached the Warriors as an assistant. He knows egos, he knows stars, he knows how to win. And I think it might be the perfect person in the perfect time, honestly. Like the substitute
I hope you're
teacher.
wrong.
The substitute teacher comes in and everybody gets happy, and it might that can run out really quick. They start off, 6-9, you know what I mean? Nice.
I can't see
Like,
that.
I'm
They have
just
too much
saying,
talent.
like the first month of the season is huge for Mike Brown, because if they start off slow,
They won't.
the people are going to be circling. If they start off slow.
I think slow is different than bad. Like slow to them would be like 6-4 or something. I don't know exactly,
I know
but
what you mean.
they have too
Yeah.
much talent. And if you look at the other teams that they're going to play, I just can't imagine. I think the only thing that can stop the Knicks in the regular season is health.
Yeah.
And that goes. I mean, that's kind of obvious, but
Mhm.
that goes for any team and any sport. If you lose Towns and Brunson, then your team sucks. Like
That's fair.
if you lose Mikel and OG, you're going to lose defense. You might start getting run out of the building in games. Like the Knicks got very fortunate last year. For the most part, we're a pretty healthy basketball team and got healthy when it mattered the most.
Mm-hmm.
Lost Brunson for a stretch towards the end of the season. Robinson was gone basically for the first 80% of it, and then came back and was healthy in the playoffs
All right.
and started to be a force, especially in their second round series versus the Celtics.
It's true.
Had a little less impact in the Pacer series. But to me, it's what happens with their health, and if they're healthy at the right time, which is also why you look at Josh Harden's injury. It's like there's no need to rush him or do anything foolish in October when I think now a Knick fan can have the perspective like it really doesn't matter. Like what do you care
Yeah,
until it really
each
matters?
game individually is not a big deal, but if things start to go slow, it will become a big deal. You know what I mean? Like you have to just this is why it's important they start fast to me because it gets rid of number one, the coach questions, and it allows you to cruise in the regular season unless you're the Mets. You can cruise when you get a big lead in the beginning of the season. And just go 500. Like if you go 10, 15 games over 500 at the beginning of the season and then you go 500 or 600 basketball the rest of the way, you're doing pretty well. And then you don't have to stress so much. But if you start off 12 and 10, then, it's going to be, you're going to be stressed, and it's going to be, we
You'll
got to
be
go on a run, so.
you'll be stressed, but it won't matter. Like look at the team that made the NBA Finals last year. They had a bad start to the season, and the Pacers made it, and they got hot, and they played their best
Right.
basketball when it mattered the most. That's what matters.
That's true.
Now, from a fan perspective, you always want to be happy. You want it to be stress free. You could have a stress free regular season like the Celtics,
Mhm.
and then lose.
So
You could have a stress free regular season like the Cavs, which is what you're asking for. They had the season you want.
that's true.
They had all time regular season wins, and then got to the playoffs and sucked.
But the difference is the
I'm
Knicks
just
did well in the playoffs. The Cavs haven't yet at all in this era of Cavs basketball.
right, but they had that season you're asking for, and
true.
then they got there and
It's
flopped.
true. It's a
And
little
it,
like I said, it's a little
and,
different because of
and
there's no
the
direct
Knicks
comparison.
haven't had that much more success than the Cavs had in the playoffs. They've gone one more round. Other than that, which is a big
Well, and
deal.
they
I
beat the
get that,
Cavs in the playoffs too.
and they beat the Cavs. But if you look at the last year, 2 years
Two
ago, the
more
Knicks
rounds,
lost in the
right?
second round.
3 in the last 3
But
years.
the Cavs lost in the second
But
round.
they lost to the Knicks in the first one. So the Knicks won one more
Hmm.
round that year. And
Yeah,
then
but they made it to the second round the year after. I'm just saying it's not
right.
like they've
Right. So
not
2
been
more rounds, I would say. But either way, it's
right.
not that big of a difference is what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
It's not a
So
huge amount.
first 12 games for the Knicks before they go on a road trip. Let's do win-loss. Cavs at home on the opening night.
Lost,
Celtics at home.
win,
On the road to Miami.
win,
On the road in Milwaukee.
lost,
On the road in Chicago.
win.
So now they're 3-2 after 5.
Mhm.
At home to Chicago, so home and home.
Win.
So that's 4-2. Home to back home to Washington.
6-2.
Isn't that 5-2? No.
Oh, I think you said a home and home. Okay,
It was
5 and
no,
2.
it was
Just
like
one
a
game.
back to back. It was home and home with
I
Chicago.
got you. 5-2.
5-2. Home to Minnesota.
6-2.
Home to Brooklyn.
7-2.
Home to Memphis.
8-2.
Really? Okay. Home to what is it? Oh, the Magic.
Teams stink.
Magic.
8-3.
And then home to Miami.
9-3.
So there you go. So 9-3 after 12 games. That's pretty confident. And then they go on the road. They go Miami, Dallas, Magic, Nets, Hornets. So that's a road trip. So that's why I wanted to wait to that.
Not a horrible road trip.
No,
I mean,
and the Nets
who
are
knows what
basically
Dallas
home.
is?
Yeah, and Nets are basically home. Like not like home, like I'm not being an ass. It's just like
We'll
they can
see.
sleep
I
at
mean, you
home.
can.
They can sleep in their apartments or houses. They have to go into a hotel, unless you're Tibbs.
I will be.
Remember Tibbs made them stay in a hotel in Brooklyn.
Did he really?
Yeah, you don't remember that? We did an episode about that. We're like, hey, Tibbs
Vaguely.
stayed in a hotel. Maybe that's
It's
why they
amazing.
hated him. Like, why are we staying in this hotel in Brooklyn? I live 5 minutes away.
The truth of the matter, well, I guess not if they're in Manhattan, but like there might be Knicks that live closer to the Barclays Center,
yeah.
possibly.
And live in
Could be.
Westchester because that's where the practice facility is in Westchester. They probably do.
Could be, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe they live in parts of Jersey or Long.
But I
don't
mean,
know
come
why I
on,
need
it's
to
like
live
an
in
hour.
Long
It's like an
Island, but
hour away with traffic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hour and a half.
funny.
I'd rather stay home. But whatever.
Yeah, it's funny.
It is.
I will be curious to see what the the Nets sold out last year.
Yeah.
The Nets now tickets were less expensive. I don't know who the hell was in the arena, but they did sell tickets. I will be curious what it's like in there because one thing about Net fans is when they had a lot of young players, it would get loud. Like it got to be a good environment. Be curious to see what it's like with all these rookies and young players running around. What the Barclays Center is like. Be interesting. It'll be interesting to note.
I want to see.
Check back on you.
We talked about going to the game on November 9th. the Knicks Nets at the Garden, the tickets are so expensive, man. Like
No.
it's way more expensive than it used to be. You used to be able to find a good ticket
Well, they're
for
good.
I know,
It's a
but like they
problem.
didn't have to price gouge. It's gotten out of hand where you can't buy a ticket on the mid hundreds, even in the behind the basket for under $200. Like that's insane. A
That
ticket.
is crazy.
A ticket, and you
That's
used to be able
crazy.
to in the corner behind the next bench, maybe 15 rows up, you can get a ticket for a little under 200. I know you're spending, but at least you're getting a great seat. Now that seat is $300. I was just looking, and it's just insane. Like, why
Yeah.
am I going? Like, I might as well go to a
Oh,
Barclays Center game. At least if I'm paying $200, I'm going to get one of those kinds of seats. I mean, it's annoying to go to Brooklyn,
Well,
but like, it is what it is.
well, not it's first of all, it's expensive there too.
Yeah,
The cheaper seats were up high and they could do it, but like you go down there, it's still gonna be horrible. Maybe
right,
not as horrible,
right,
but it's horrible. But you're talking about what my youth was, Alex. Like
yeah.
people go to net games because it wasn't as expensive. I mean,
Back then
it's
was
not
like,
this
yeah, especially
then back then. Let me give you this for perspective. In 2002, Nets Lakers Game 3 NBA Finals, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal. I mean, we're talking about. I mean, I think even in the moment we knew then, like this was part of their three-peat.
legends in
We're
their
looking at
prime.
we're looking at
Yeah,
we're looking at an all-time
living legends.
seventh row behind the Lakers bench, 150 a ticket.
Insane. And I
Yeah,
know
I mean
inflation,
not retail.
but it's gotten out of hand. And I think the
Come on, man.
secondary
What
market
would
ruined
Knicks?
that.
What would Knicks Lakers seventh row NBA Finals Game 3 be with that roster
I mean,
now?
now it'd be like
It would be
$5,000 a
10 grand.
ticket. Yeah,
10 grand. Yeah.
easy. And it's just,
People got money.
yeah. I mean, people want to spend it, but it just becomes unfair. And I'm, maybe it's my fault because I am more um, stuffy when it comes to tickets. At 40 years old, gonna be 41 in November. I'm not going all the way to Madison Square Garden to sit on the ceiling. You know what I mean? Even for free. Why am I wasting my time? You know what I mean? I'd rather sit home on my couch, not put my wife through the stress of watching the kid alone and not dealing with that kind of guilt and saving money. You know what I mean? Especially I live on Long Island now. Even when I lived down the block from the Garden, I remember one time I won free tickets on Twitter from some random Knicks account and said, "Hey, what's your favorite moment?" Whatever it was, and I posted a video of Shumpert or something like that. And this was like 10 years ago. And he's like, "Hey, man, here's free tickets." And I looked at the seats, and there were literally 3 rows from the top. Before the bridge was there, it was like literally the worst seats. I'm like, dude, just give them to somebody else. And this is when I can walk 15 minutes to get to the Garden. And I said, I'm not going. I know they weren't great at the time, but still, like my favorite team. And I just don't want to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're getting them for free and it's Game 7 of the NBA
Well,
Finals and they're
that's
bad
different.
seats, you're probably going in.
I'll sit in obstructed
Right,
view
you're going
seats.
in.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Yeah,
it sucks. I mean, it's a sport though. When you're
yeah,
watching from bad seats, it's not nearly as fun.
right.
It's
I mean, there's not a bad
it's
seat
more difficult.
in these arenas, in the Garden or in the
There are. I
Barclays.
mean, there's not as good.
No, but like you could see everything. It's not like going to City Field where if you're sitting in the left field upper deck, you can't
I
see
would
half the
argue
field.
differently.
You can't see half the field. You know what I mean?
I,
And an arena, you could
I,
see the whole court from anywhere, at
I
least. Yeah,
I would have a completely, honestly different view on that. I
yeah,
think baseball, you get a whole perspective of the field because the sport is played more than just the infield. You got the outfield. I sound like I'm explaining sports, but I
you
think
are.
you get a more wider view of it.
But
Hoops, it's like
have you ever sat in
you can't see as much.
seats in City Field? You literally can't see parts of the field. Like you literally can't see. Like
I don't know if I'm just saying in general. I guess I can't speak to
even if you're sitting.
City Field
I'm
specifically.
just saying City Field specifically because I know it's really annoying when they knock down Shea and build City Field. One of the things that I hated the most about City Field is that you couldn't see certain things from certain seats. Like if you're sitting on the field level by the right field foul pole, you can't see shit. If you're sitting in you might as well not be at the game. If you're sitting on the whatever they call it now, Pepsi porch, Coca-Cola corner, the Coke den, whatever they call it, there you can't see the wall under you. Like you can't see if it's a home run. Like I've sat in those seats, even if you're in the second or first row. If there's a ball hit to the wall, you're waiting for the crowd to react. Is it out? Is it not? Like that pisses me off. Like why am I going to the game if I can't see? You know what I mean? Or if like a seats I sat in right and left field, the
Yeah.
upper deck, you can't see anything. So it's annoying. But so that's what I'm talking about from that perspective. So anyway, and like I remember when the
no,
Islanders played at Barclays, the Islanders fans were complaining that they couldn't see the ice in certain parts because it wasn't built for hockey.
Right.
So whatever.
Well, at the same time, though, if you get a good seat at a basketball game, there's nothing better.
Oh, nothing, because you're
Like
literally
if you're right there
Yeah.
on the court and you're watching these guys run up and down and seeing just how extremely athletic and great at basketball they
tall.
are at the top level and tall.
Yeah.
It's quite the experience. There's nothing better,
Yeah,
in
and
my opinion, than that.
it's crazy how big they are because see Steph Curry, what is he, like 6'3", 6'2", and you don't think he's that big. But I remember there was a time he was talking the Myles Garrett, the big defensive end for the Browns. This guy's like muscles coming out of every kind of where you don't even think there's muscles, like biggest guy when you see him on TV playing football. And then he's before a game, he's talking to Steph Curry, and Steph Curry is like standing over him. It's just like Steph Curry looks like he's this puny, like nothing looking guy. Meanwhile, he's taller than Myles Garrett. It was just really funny to me. Like it's your perspective.
Well, I did think that when I did go into the Knicks locker room, at the Knicks Nets game, the final game of the season, and Towns is walking by, and you're just like, holy shit, you are a tall man,
right? You're a
massive
human.
Mitch Robinson. It just puts in perspective just how.
And you're not short. You're like 6 foot, right? So you're not.
No, I'm 5'8".
You're 5'8". Why do I think you're taller?
5'8", 5'9".
You
I'm
seem
not
taller.
that tall.
I'm 6 foot.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
You really think that?
I thought you were
I've
taller.
never had anybody say that.
I don't know.
I'll tell you, yeah, I'm 6'4".
Well, you portray yourself as a taller person.
Why don't I'm definitely not that. I could not be more insecure than you. That is just not true at all.
Yeah, you could come on. So I'm 6 foot 6'1" without a haircut. I'm 6.5 inches, but like my hair is like long. I'm like 6'1", and I generally am taller than most normal people. You know what I mean, or just like at the height. So when somebody's taller than me, it's like jarring for me because if you're like 6'4" and you're like, I'm looking up at you, I'm like, damn, bro, but yeah, I don't know. So it'd be weird.
Well, with that, we can end on this. How's your basketball league going?
Oh man,
one of the taller.
I was crushing it last week. Jason, shout out to him. He listens to the podcast. I was torching him, bro. Like I had this one shot, I caught it, and I was like moving, so I was running towards the sideline on the right side, under the baseline. And I caught it, and I was kind of, my back was a hoop, and I just stood up to fling it because I was going to travel. So I just like stood up to shoot. And as I'm turning around, I'm like, oh man, I can make this. And then I kind of just like flung it and went in money, and just like, what the fuck, bro? You know what I mean? It was just like, my shot was just falling, man. It was good.
Are you playing, what position you play, or is it positionless basketball for your league?
I'm not a point guard though. I'm more of like, the spot up jump shooter and like pick and pop all day. My buddy Marty. And I've been doing well, but this other guy, my guy Mike, he's like 6'4", 6'5", and he's like Anthony Davis, like he's really good. And so like, whenever you're guarding him or you have to get guarded by him, like the shots don't fall. It's like you have to like play real defense. You're getting beat up, but it's tough. But I've been doing well, and I'm pretty happy because I'm back in. I'm not back in shape by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm back in basketball shape where I'm not dying and my shot feels good. I'm not like getting mad and like chucking up air balls like I was when I first started playing again last year, where I was just like, damn, like what the hell's wrong with
reps?
Me?
Reps.
Yeah. Now,
if you do anything over and over again,
once a week,
get better at it. I mean, I know if I played basketball right now, I don't think I could get up and down the court.
Yeah. Well, what's good is that we're not playing on a real full court. We're playing like a kid's full court.
I know what you're talking about.
So it's not like, and we've played in the other gym at the JCC we play at, and it's like the upstairs gym, and it's like a real court where it's like we're playing on that. We're like, I'm dying, and we don't want to play on it because we want to play, we want to run, but we don't want to die. Because we're all you know a little older here, and we're trying to have fun.
Yeah, it's like if you get on a basketball court and there's 10 players, NBA players who are all massive men.
Yeah.
Right. Like the court shrinks.
Oh yeah.
And then it's like if you're used to watching that, and then you go and watch a rec league game, like you're saying at the JCC, you're like, oh, the court seems bigger than I remember.
Yeah, because everybody's like 6 foot 5'8",
Peanuts.
and not 7 foot 6'6". You know what I mean? Like
right, athletic gazelles up and down the court.
Yeah, exactly.
Can move.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're having fun with hoops.
I'm gonna play tonight because
good to hear.
The holiday, but it'll be fun. Good times.
Right, well, enjoy making some shots, and Jason, get your shit together.
Yeah, man. And he's a Nets fan. He's the one who wears the Nets fan. He wore Kenyon Martin jersey. He wore, I think it was Kenyon Martin, or Kerry Kittle's jersey. He brings
I
up the
wasn't
jerseys.
there, so I don't know.
So I sent you a picture, I think, or a Van Horn. It was something. I sent you a picture. It was like
Yeah,
it was a
it was
jersey.
Van Horn jersey.
Yeah, but he's inspiring me. Maybe I'll wear my old Knicks jerseys or just random jerseys of random players that I have. I have like a Gary Payton jersey, Glenn Robinson. I have Luke Ridnour on the Sonics. I have a lot of random basketball jerseys. You know, it was a basketball. Back then, it was the fashion to wear random jerseys. So I have so many random. I have Ben Wallace on the Pistons. Like that was my guy. So anyway,
I only got Nets jerseys.
yeah, because you're a good person.
I wasn't a fraud like you.
Yeah, that makes me a fraud. I didn't buy like Reggie Miller or Michael Jordan. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
All right.
Yeah.
We'll see about that.
Yeah,
We'll see about
we
that.
will.
We got your Jamal Mashburn Heat jersey.
With
hiding.
Sean Leonard, right? Like the Heat jersey.
21, I think, right? Was he number 21?
I don't know. I just remember he was a dick.
It's a name I haven't thought of in
Yeah.
20 years.
Yeah.
All right. Bad Weather Fans, episode 282. Find us on YouTube. Hit that like and subscribe button. Check us on out. And we get inch closer to the NBA regular season. Alex, we'll talk to you later. All right.
Talk to you soon.